Okay, anyway, we'll go forward, and if they shut it off, so good, so much the better. But first, I want to thank our guests who are here. Kim Minkle, the Executive Director at NFTA, Colin Bishop, Chief Communications Officer for Feed More New York, for Western New York. You'll hear more from him and her being Dr. Ramona Reynolds, Chief of Community Schools of the Buffalo Public Schools. We have David Hills, the Chief Operating Officer of the Buffalo Public Schools, Ruth Connor, Director of Food Service and Buffalo Public Schools, and they're going to come talk about a second issue. We got some money to help feed kids, and I'll go over that after we talk about what we're here to talk about today. Joining us today on this issue, behind me, is Angela Marinucci. She's Amherst Town Council member-elect. Congratulations. And Erie County Commissioner of Senior Services, and Becca Castaneda, a concerned mother with her beautiful, what is the name?
Benny.
What?
Benny.
Benny, beautiful. How old is Benny?
15 months.
I have an 18-month-old. She looks just like that. Okay, thank you. And so thank you all for being here. First, I have three things to talk about first. First, go Bills. I was so glad to watch the game last night. I don't spend money on a lot of things, but I do have NFL Sunday. What's it called? Sunday what? Sunday Ticket, so I can watch every Bills game. Last night I didn't have to. Now, the Jets are from New York City, but I'm a Bills fan, and I was for the Bills all the way. And now they're going to beat Philadelphia next week, in my humble opinion. They really played well. Everyone was on track. Josh Allen, he seemed to have found his mark again. He was threading the needle. Shakir, that was some great run. And the defense, despite all the injuries, and we hope the 3 injured players come back soon, is still great with all the people missing. You know, Matt Milano, I think, is the best defensive player in football. He's missing, and they're still playing good defense. So all is to the good. Second, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And I have a story to tell. You know I like stories. My birthday this year comes on Thanksgiving. And I was born on Thanksgiving Day. And here is the story I like to tell. So my mom went into labor at 5 a.m. We lived in Brooklyn. She drove her car, my dad drove her in his car, a Packard, which I believe was made in Buffalo. In those days, Packards were made in Buffalo. Am I right about that? Yes? To the hospital. She was giving birth at a hospital called French Hospital, run by an order of French nuns. I don't know why French nuns had a hospital on 29th Street and 7th Avenue in Midtown Manhattan, but they did. So what happened in those days, the father would drive the pregnant mom to the hospital, and then they'd shove them down in some room where they were supposed to smoke cigars and pace the floor. None of this touchy-feely stuff in the birth room, and you didn't know if it would be a boy or a girl and all that. But my dad's a free spirit. And he was at 29th and 7th, and he said, gee, 4 blocks away is Macy's. I'll go to the parade. He got to the parade at 9. He stayed till noon. When it was ending, he bumped into a friend of his who tapped him on the shoulder and said, let's go into a local pub and celebrate the blessed event. P.S. I was born at 11 a.m. My dad showed up at 4 p.m., precipitating the first fight my parents had over me. But my dad passed away, as you know, a year and a half ago, but they had 72 great years together, so I guess it wasn't much of a problem. Okay, so let's get into the substance of today, but then we will later talk about the good news that we got from the U.S. Department of Agriculture secondarily. But first, I want to talk about the issue that we are here to talk about today. So as we know, Buffalo Niagara International is preparing for a really busy travel season. Kim says, and the airport says, there'll be 80,000 people coming through this airport. That's a lot. And it's 11% more than last year, which shows our economy is doing well. That's a good thing. But as families deal with the usual stress for the holidays, many airlines are going to be hitting them with deceptive and unneeded junk fees just to sit with their kids when they travel. Can you imagine? They want you to pay more to be guaranteed you're sitting next to your child. Airlines are very tricky about this issue. While some of them say they do everything to keep families together, the majority refuse to commit to not charging the fees. 4 airlines have committed: Alaska, Frontier, JetBlue, and American, but all the others have not, even though we've been trying for years to get them to do it. Some airlines will take away the fees for children if you complain, or say, oh, we can just ask people to switch once you get on the plane, but you don't even know it till after you've gotten off the plane that they've charged you another 50 or 100 bucks if they sit you with your kid. So this is a bad policy. Plain and simple. Whether it's Thanksgiving or any other time, airlines should not be forcing parents to plead once they get on the plane to sit with their kids, or forcing parents into a game of musical chairs. Oh, will you trade with me? Will you trade with him? And you know, we've always done that. Those of us who travel with kids have done this in the past. And you're always afraid that person next to who's in the seat that you want for your kid, you'll say, please trade. Why should I? You know, that kind of thing. Now, some people are nice, but people shouldn't have to go through this. So that's why today I'm unveiling, for the first time as majority leader in the whole country, I'm unveiling it right here in Buffalo, the Families Fly Together Act. And that means that this federal legislation to stop these junk fees just to keep the kids together with the parents. I've been pushing this for years. As I said, I got 4 of the airlines to do it, but the rest aren't. So that's why we need legislation. I wrote DOT, DOT tried to put pressure on these airlines, but they couldn't get it done. So the legislation will force airlines to get rid of this policy that takes advantage of parents and gives the DOT the authority to investigate and force rules if the airlines refuse to comply. It's the ticket to stopping airlines, which already are making billions of dollars in profit from charging families these junk fees, particularly when it comes to wanting to sit with your kid and make sure they're safe, taken care of, etc. Even if the kid's 4 or 5 years old, they still don't require you to be able to sit with the kids. Separating children from their families on airplanes isn't just inconvenient, it risks the safety of families, of crews, and makes travel stressful. So that's what we want to try to stop. It's far past time to make flying less turbulent for our families in Buffalo and in Western New York, and the Families Fly Together Act is how we can land a solution to getting rid of these fees that split up families once and for all. With that, I am going to call on 2 people who have been affected by this and want to change it. And the first is Angela Marinucci, who is just been elected, congratulations, to the Amherst Town Council. Angela, thank you so much for coming.
Good afternoon, everyone. As the mother of 3 young daughters, I personally know that air travel as a family is a complex dance of logistics, expenses, and inevitable chaos. The imposition of fees for families to sit together adds an unwarranted layer of financial stress to an already stressful situation. I want to express my gratitude to Senator Schumer for championing the Families Fly Together Act. This legislation is a game changer for parents like me who navigate the challenges of flying with little ones. Senator Schumer's commitment to family cohesion is not only commendable, but also essential in ensuring that the joy of traveling with our loved ones remains a practical reality. Western New York parents often find themselves burdened with unexpected costs that only add to the already daunting task of coordinating family travel. As a side note, my husband and I were lucky enough to get away, just the 2 of us, a couple weekends ago, and we were one of those couples that offered to split up for the parents to sit together, which delayed the flight and delayed everybody on it. So it is an unnecessary stress even for those who are not traveling with their young ones.
Good point.
The Families Fly Together Act recognizes and tackles these issues head-on, paving the way for a more family-friendly and affordable air travel experience without unnecessary junk fees. Senator Schumer's foresight in supporting this legislation demonstrates a genuine commitment to erasing the burdens faced by families and ensuring that family travel remains as positive and low stress as possible. I thank him for his leadership on this issue and for the benefit to traveling families.
Thanks, Angela.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Okay, and next we have Becca Castaneda and her beautiful son,
Benny.
Benny. What a nice name. to hold it?
No, I just had to
You want to hold it, Benny? I love kids.
Good afternoon. My name is Rebecca Castaneda, and here with me is Benny, who's 1. I wear many hats, but one of the most recent one is mom to Benny and to Leo, my 3-year-old at home. There's been a lot of talk online lately about mom math, which is the mental load it takes to go anywhere with children and plan for any and every contingency. Mom math is planning for an extra 20 minutes to go through TSA because you know your child is just going to have to put everything in the bin themselves. Mom math is also deciding what essentials to skip so that you can afford the extra junk fees an airline charges you just so you can sit together as a family. I am grateful that Senator Schumer is championing the Families Fly Together Act. Amplifying the stress of holiday travel is bad for parents, bad for caregivers, and bad for other passengers. It's not right for airline companies to nickel and dime hardworking families just so caregivers can keep an eye on their kids and keep them safe. According to Forbes, the average cost for a domestic round-trip flight for a family of 4 is already over $1,700. I applaud Senator Schumer for prioritizing this legislation, and I sincerely hope it's passed to help parents and families travel a little easier this holiday season.
Thank you, Becca.
Thank you.
Okay.